We all know how the valley keeps booming and growing, and the city of Henderson's growing too. It just annexed this right here, 16,000 acres of new plots of land. But rather than just building on all of it, there's a priority to put nature first for future generations. We all know the desert around us is far from deserted and teems with plants and wildlife. The booming city of Henderson just acquired this 16,000 new acres. Even though the valley's bursting with new growth and can't build fast enough, building here is not the first priority.
The city recently annexed a large area in the El Dorado Valley. We identify sensitive areas that we don't want to see developed, that the community wants to protect.
Lisa Corrado says there's a way to balance the city's growth and keep places for trails and hiking. Some of this land will have no development at all to make sure what lives here stays here. But to make those decisions, the city needs your help and your photos.
We need volunteers to come out and take pictures just on their cell phones, and they can upload the pictures to an app that we created. And we do need people who can kind of off-road and walking around, hiking, acorn sheep, coyotes, reptiles, we have rattlesnakes, and then a variety of birds and plants and flowers.
Now's your chance to show off your photography skills in the East Henderson Desert Edge study. They want close-ups, landscape shots, even trash. What parts of this land need a cleanup crew to come in? Your photos could decide the future of this land.
If we didn't do a study like this, we wouldn't be able to justify protecting open space.
And the city will be leading people on photo tours for the next few Saturdays in April. You will need a virtual training session before you head out. To sign up and learn more, head to this story on our website right now on fox5vegas.com.